everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio and welcome to The Why of Art, our new podcast about why we create and why it matters. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be reminiscing and talking about the way things have changed in the world of art over the 5 years that we've been running our channel. We're going to be sharing our thoughts with you, hoping to give you some ideas that might be able to help you and support you in this difficult time, because everybody knows how hard things are at the moment. We've got Tamsin set up here and me set up here. I've got my nature journal from last year to this year here, and I've got various things in here that I've done, and I'm going to add to that today. Tamsin's got a lovely pristine sheet of paper, which is as intimidating as it can get, but she's fine. And in front of us, as you can see, we've got two lovely baskets of flowers, and we're just going to basically pick them out at random and give them our best and see what we can do to come up with something colourful, if nothing else. And the reason why we're doing this and the reason why we're doing it together will become evident as we continue and our conversation develops. And you're going to be interested in this, I'm sure. So let's get started, Tamsin.
Right. Okie dokie. Well, I'm going to pick a geranium.
Okay. You've already picked it, actually.
I've picked it already. I'm going to choose the geranium.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit about your paints that you've got there that you've selected from my vast collection?
Well, yes, because these are the special handmade ones from Germany by Victoria Hilbrecht, VH Aquarelle, specially curated by a lady called Diane Antone.
Oh, that's me.
Ah. For flowers. So I thought perhaps it would be worth using these, and I can see that real red will probably work for the fuchsia.
Yes, I think so.
And maybe I get to use some caput mortuum. What do you think for the stem?
That's a good colour.
And some sap green.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
And
I'm going to retire, actually. I think it's time for me to retire. What does everybody think? Do you think I should retire and let Tamsin do all the work?
The problem is, if you retire, you have to do the video editing.
Oh, that could be a bummer. Anyway, so tell us what you're using to do your nice painting with.
Well, I don't really know yet, but what I have in front of me is a 2B pencil, because I am most secure in sketching, or at least I was 20 years ago when I last did this. I have a small brush.
Time doesn't fly that fast.
Does. It was in Bermuda.
Oh.
I have a number 8 brush, which I think will be small enough and big enough. I have a couple of fine liners. So my kind of plan, if you can call it that, is to do a sketch and then a wash and then maybe add some line work at the end.
Lovely, excellent, beautiful, marvellous. So, and I'm going to be using this set, which is my personally collated set of every bit of junk that I was able to find in my drawer. Don't know what they are, but we'll make it work somehow.
They're Schminker and
Winsor and Newton,
and Jackman's and Michael Harding
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes, just ordinary watercolor paints. And what I was going to do, like I said, I'm going to work on a double spread in here, probably this one. And I'm going to see how many of these things I can paint in half an hour.
Ooh, is that how long we're going to be here?
I don't know. Let's see what happens, shall we?
I've just remembered that I actually did a painting of a geranium, and I have it somewhere in a mount from 20 years ago.
Did you?
I might try and find that.
What a wonderful situation to be in, that you can individually remember every painting you've ever done.
Exactly. I've done so few.
Yes. Let's start with... this is one I pulled out last time. It's going to be a bit wilty, needs some water. This is a fuchsia, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so that will be the beginning there. So we'll get quietly on with what we're doing. I've got my pencil here, a 2B, or not to be, Faber-Castell. I've got a couple of fine liners. Got my favourite brushes that you know well, the Princeton Aqua Elite Round number 8, and a Drawwell number 5. So we'll see how far that gets us. Okay, now calm down and get started, all right?
Yes, quite.
Yes, right. Well, let's have a go at
always
this.
Something new every day these days.
You didn't know you were going to do this today, did you?
I didn't. I didn't know I was going to do it on Thursday either.
No.
But here I am.
Yes. Notice how symmetrical we are.
It's convenient.
The left and the right.
I'm a mini her, but in a mirror. A mirror image.
Yes, look better in a mirror than I do these days, and that's a fact.
I don't look in mirrors anymore.
So why are we doing this piece of art here, working from nature? When we first started the channel, I'm going to take my glasses off, they don't work for me anymore. When we first started the channel, accidentally, on purpose, years ago now, people say, oh, it's been years since I was a la-di-da.
At least 2 years.
2 years at least.
But that's true. It's kind of true. It's kind of not true, but it's kind of true because change is so rapid.
And it couldn't be more rapid than what's happened with, that's a nice segue, it couldn't be more rapid than what's happened with artificial intelligence. And this is what we're rampaging on about at the moment. And by the way, you can't have a rant if there are two of you. You can only have a conversation or an argument.
So that's why I've been roped in.
So that's why she's been roped in.
It becomes a conversation, not a rant.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't like to rant, do we, Tamsin?
No, not at all.
No, never do that.
Not normally on camera.
Anyway, so yes, so things have changed very rapidly over the last few years, and I often find myself sitting on my comfy chair, thinking to myself, reflecting to myself about when I was young, I used to think, life's boring, isn't it? Nothing ever changes. Now I look back and I think to myself, oh my goodness, why isn't it like that anymore? Where you could rely on, for example, having the same postman for more than 5.5 milliseconds, or the same bank manager. Now you don't even have a bank manager. They don't even exist. So it's all tragic and everything is changing super fast.
You're not even allowed to learn how to communicate with the bots. They keep changing the bots.
We had an argument.
Contact the bank. There's a different
robot talking to you.
A different sort of security guard between you and the humans. And you have to talk to it differently.
It's terrible, isn't it? And I don't even know what a bot is, but apparently they rule my life because 50% of the internet is controlled by bots or inhabited by bots, whatever they are. I mean, how bizarre.
This 50% of internet traffic is bot traffic.
I don't know. These words don't mean anything to me. And I have a funny, sneaky feeling that there's quite a few of you out there for whom it's the same, that you don't really understand what's going on. And I know I don't. But I tell you what, this morning I was thinking, I woke up and I had a fuzzy head because I've had a migraine for 3 days. And I thought, oh, goodness me, I don't know what to paint. I don't know what to do. What am I going to do today? I'll tell you what, I'll have a look online and see if I can find any inspiration. Heaven forbid that I should do anything as dreadful as copy anybody. I wouldn't do that, not straight out anyway. But sometimes you can see something that someone else has done and you can say, oh, I can develop that a little bit further, or I can do it slightly differently. It's just something to spark off your, isn't it?
This is something that we have talked about quite a lot on the channel, the difference between inspiration and copying and so on and so forth. But things have kind of changed to make it all irrelevant now, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's getting more and more difficult. So I did a search on Google for, I was thinking I might paint her hair. I'm going to put another rose on here. And what came back? Hundreds and hundreds of immaculately painted by a machine hairs. And I thought,
not just immaculately painted like a human, immaculately painted in a way that no human would ever have imagined doing it.
Yeah.
Like a kind of hybrid of all the paintings that have ever existed, plus elements of wood carving, ceramic, and all other crafts, all kind of very cleverly mixed into an image that basically makes you wonder whether there's any point in doing anything ever
or even remaining alive.
Yeah.
You know, it really hit my heart and soul, and I'm sitting there practically in tears, because I'm thinking, I can't believe that some people, in response to our video the other day where we were saying, watch out for AI because it's everywhere, some people actually turned around and said in very coarse language that I was completely wrong to say anything of the sort, and that it was just clickbait. It is not clickbait. It is not clickbait.
No. Well, we don't think so anyway.
Well, it isn't, because it's true. And anything that is true cannot be called clickbait. We are not making these videos in order to get viewers and to make money and anything.
I think one of the problems is that people's attention spans have become so short that if you don't make a point loudly enough in the first 45 seconds, the point isn't heard, it's misunderstood. But the fact is that these things are way more complicated than you can get across even in an hour. So it requires attention to really understand the profundity of what's going wrong. And most people, I don't like generalizing, although I do it quite a lot, don't I? But I think it's true that most people have been trained to have attention spans that are shorter than the level of complexity of the world.
It's called brainwashing and mind control. And I'm personally not a conspiracy. Thank you. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything remotely like it, but I am perfectly well aware that our minds have been controlled for many, many years now, and we're only allowed to think and say certain things, and it's been like that for at least 20 years. So this is no different. This is no different. So what we wanted to say, apart from having a vent about all of that, is how can you avoid being heartbroken by seeing all of this dreadful... It's not dreadful work. It's very clever. It's very clever, but it's not human.
I think one of the things that has become quite clear because I watch the effect that it has on you as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things
makes me sad, doesn't it?
Happening is that, it makes you lose the will to be human.
Yeah.
And I kind of mean that quite
literally,
profoundly, quite literally. Because what is it that makes us human? Well, all of the things that the computers couldn't do before, but that AI has now made it quite obvious that we are replaceable. And we're not replaceable, but if you don't allow the things that computers still can't do, the real things about being human, loving your neighbor, creating for the sake of creating, these things that make us human, we are in the process of forgetting why we do all of them. And it's very important, and it's very very, very terrifying.
It's life-sustaining, because you can't live, can you? Profoundly, you can't live if you are meaningless. And it makes you feel meaningless.
Could you get your Budley out of my painting?
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, look at that, how beautiful that is.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go quite that far. Anyway.
Yes, well, anyway, so the point is, to come back to have we made the point that it's very important to be aware of just exactly what is happening?
I think the thing that suddenly struck us that made me agree to be roped into this process this morning,
apart from the fact that you love your mother.
Well, yes, that too, absolutely, and all of our viewers.
Yes,
the thing that struck us is something like this. We realised that we create these videos because we do love our viewers, because we want the people, you out there who are listening and watching our videos, who find them helpful, we want them to continue to be helpful. And in the very beginning, when we first started this, when Mum didn't really know what
a paintbrush
what she was going to do with the videos, the very beginning, the most natural thing that came to her, the first intuitive thing, was to pick flowers from the garden and paint them.
That's what I'd always done, and birds as well. That was what I'd always done, wasn't it?
Yeah, because, for a long time, that was basically all there was to do.
Because we painted what we saw.
Yeah, and the point of painting was to create a record or a reflection, or to process emotions that needed reflection or remembering or processing because of real life.
I have got a painting on the dining room wall in our house here that I did before Tamsin was born, and it's just a little street view. It's just a little landscape of a few houses on the Isle of Arran in Scotland.
I was looking at that yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, that stayed with me all this time. I did it when I'd literally only barely started with watercolor. And it's not very good, but it's good enough for me because it's my memory encapsulated there on the wall. It's lived with me I've lived in 50 different houses in my life, and that painting has managed to survive all those moves. Lots of things haven't, but that has. So that's why we paint landscapes, not to impress the neighbours, not to make a big noise in an empty room.
Not to sell.
Not to sell, not to put online, not to share on Instagram. And I nearly said a rude word there.
Risk of ranting.
Instagram is, this is a rant. I'm going to stop in a second. Passing over to the more considered member of the family, who is much calmer than me. She didn't get my anger from me. I kept it all. Carry on,
I've been finding some recently, haven't I?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what was I saying? Yes. So then over the years, the sort of the influence of YouTube on you has been to go more and more into using online influences, online inspiration, because of the volume of videos that you need to make in order to keep up with things on YouTube, because of the fact that the algorithm likes certain things more than certain other things. There's 100 reasons I could probably list if I sat down and thought about it. But I think this week has kind of been a tipping point for you, hasn't it? Because you've realised that when you do the things that we were all doing, in other words, go online to look for answers to questions and so on, what you're faced with is artificial.
And unachievable. There's no way I could paint that hair.
And then you get down and one of the major things that you achieve on your videos, I think, and I hope that people will agree, is that you make it doable so that when you paint something, people can learn enough to be able to do it themselves by watching you doing it.
That's the idea.
And that is what we hope to achieve.
I'm not there to show off, in other words. I'm here to demonstrate.
But if you are looking online now for inspiration, the things that you see, you can't do. So you can't simplify
Yes.
because they're insane.
I don't think any human being would want to, let alone could.
Exactly. So you can't simplify them. So then you can't make videos from them. And then you feel, what am I going to do today? You have that sinking feeling of, I don't know what to paint. So this process of having all these flowers here is a sort of reversing, isn't it? Stepping backwards to how we started. And I need your help here because I don't know how to make this have more depth. It looks flat.
No, let it dry.
Okay.
Let it dry. Go on and do another one. Maybe do some buddleia or something. That'll keep you busy.
Okay. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'll do a rose.
It's always important to remember to let things dry. It's always important to let things sink in. And that's one of the problems with this paper, actually, because it's not very... it's the Viviva stuff, which I don't really want to use, but I can't bear to waste it. So I'm using it. Anyway, so yes, I'm painting a fuchsia. I can never remember the name of these plants. The fuchsia, right, Antone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuchsia.
Thank you for that. Jawohl. Yes, and the pink, very, very pale pink. I'm going to go for this. This is shell pink. I hope you can see what I'm doing here with this. This is shell pink, and I'm going to paint the centres in shell pink. That's from Holbein, by the way. Anyway.
So we, I suppose, are starting to think about making another pledge like we did in the blog posts and the video from earlier, was it earlier this week or last week? That we feel that that it is our duty, perhaps, to help people who want to resist, because there are many who do not see any harm in this, and that's fine. Obviously, if that's the case, then you probably don't want to carry on watching our channel. But the influence of AI on our mental health, our literal humanity. And I'm not anti-AI, I use it, but I use it in a very considered way, in the same way that I use social media in a very considered way. And I have watched it ruin many people in my life, and because they don't use it in a considered way. And I think we all need to be very conscious, and we need to be alert and aware, and to not let ourselves sleep through this process, because it will steal our humanity if we don't pay attention. Am I being melodramatic?
No, I don't think you're being melodramatic at all. I think the problem is there's not enough melodrama out there.
Not enough melodrama. We all need more melodrama in our lives.
Because people don't believe it. Most people are just walking blindfold into the abyss.
Well, it's very easy to say, oh, but things have always, every younger generation, well, actually, it's not the young generation now that's saying anything, is it? But, people have always said that it was better in the past, and, oh, well, everyone's been saying the world was going to end and it hasn't ended yet.
Yeah, but when the person who invented AI says, I think there's a 50% chance that AI will destroy the world, kill humanity. I mean, hello, the robots are saying that already.
And the irony is that they're actually saying the greatest likelihood is not that the AI will rise up and there'll be some kind of robot takeover, but more that our use of AI and the resulting laziness, depression, illness, and 100 other things will cause us to destroy ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it is harmful. And here's the thing, both me and Tamsin specifically has already had her blood tested. And it turns out that she's got a...
Stop press. Just announce it, to the public.
There's no reason why people shouldn't know. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, because there is an epidemic at the moment of something called Hashimoto's disease, which you probably know, is an inadequacy of the thyroid gland to produce enough, it's thyroxine, isn't it? To keep you functioning properly. And I think I've got it as well. And my son has it as well, and has had for some years. It's quite possible that Tamsin might have been suffering from it for quite a while, but it hasn't really raised its ugly head until relatively recently. I would say 2 or 3 years, she's started to have quite a lot of symptoms, which are attributable to low thyroid function. And so she's going to get herself on pills. And I'm going to get my blood tested again. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it is, according to what we've been reading, most likely that this is happening around the world in larger numbers than ever before, because people are under such a lot of stress. And the stress is coming from our hectic lifestyles.
Environmental diets.
The environmental pressures of all the food pollution, air pollution, water pollution, everything pollution, and that we can't avoid it. And the changing weather.
And really, really key is nutritionally deficient food.
Yeah, because the soil around the world, and you start to talk about this, and you start to think, oh my God, I'm starting to sound, sorry about that, I don't mean to, but I do believe that God has something to do with this, and I wish that he would fix it, because the planet is depleted. Most of the animals that used to live on this planet are now very, very threatened in existence, and most of them actually are extinct. Whether or not you like to believe it, it's not neither here nor there. I've been reading David Attenborough's books, and he tells me so, and I believe him. Don't you? So we've destroyed the planet, and we are living with the consequences. The weather isn't the same as it used to be. Nothing's the same as it used to be, and this is causing us to be sick. Everybody I know is sick.
We're off on a rant again.
Yeah, we're off on a rant again, but it's true. And so that's why you have to paint. Because all the time you're painting, except when you're making a video like we are at the moment, all the time you're painting, you don't think about these things. So at least you can have a few minutes in the course of the day, preferably painting something real that does still exist, and enjoying it. And so that's what we want to continue to be able to do, don't we, Tamsin?
We do. I think it might be more than that as well, because I think I believe, I think you believe too, that that my rose is going wrong.
No,
I believe that the thoughts that we have are more real than we realise, and that it's not just our actions, it's our intention, and it's the energy that we put into things that becomes manifest in the world and in ways that we don't even understand. And so sitting quietly in a room, using your willpower, exerting your willpower to not panic and worry about the state of the world, but instead to create something beautiful, which you may never share, but to put yourself into that mental state where you're at peace and you're calm, that means something.
It helps to heal the world.
It's not just that it's nice and that you enjoy it. It actually really means something. And that's what we have to hold on to. But when you pick up an AI, pick up your phone and you look at an AI generated image that makes you feel inadequate and insecure and worried, well, then you're not using your willpower to focus on the love that you should be focusing on. You're allowing yourself to be drawn in and
hollowed out.
I
feel as if when I see these images, I feel hollowed out because it makes me feel profoundly inadequate and sad. And when I say inadequate, I don't mean that I'm not as good as that computer. That
powerless.
I just feel hopeless. Yeah, powerless
and hopeless.
Yeah.
And that is a state that we all descend into, isn't it? But
yeah,
somehow we've got to find
a way
out.
Yeah. So we're going to be, Tamsin and me, we're going to be suggesting that, this month, thinking about the challenge.
Oh, the challenge, yes.
We've picked a challenge which is completely open-ended, free-flowing, mix and match. You paint whatever you like. We've given you some ideas. We've given you some ideas of how to combine a medium with a subject, and we're hoping that people are going to embrace it.
And the idea is that this is a challenge, actually, because the idea is that although the painting itself that you do should hopefully be fun and not challenging, but to take that mental step of not looking online, not picking up the phone, not going to the computer, but looking around you and finding something interesting in something mundane or simple, something real though, and then trying to see what comes out of your own brush without leaning on inspiration from someone else. That's quite scary, but that if you can do that, it's sort of like a detox, isn't it? Or like, quitting caffeine. If you can do that, then I'm hoping, and like I said on the video a couple of days back, I'm going to do the challenge, and I'm hoping that something will happen that makes me less intimidated. Because really, why are we intimidated by a blank piece of paper? When you think of all the waste, all the resources that we're forced to use and waste because we buy things and they break, why do we feel guilty about
wasting a piece of paper?
You buy a vacuum cleaner and 3 years later it's junk. It's not our fault, but we have to throw it away and buy another one. So really a piece of paper it's not significant,
it's not worth worrying about.
But we do.
And
we're afraid of disappointing ourselves.
Exactly. That's just what I was going to say. I think we're afraid of disappointing ourselves and somehow disappointing somebody else who may never even see it.
We're afraid of having wasted time.
That's a big one.
We're afraid of saying this is important enough and I'm going to do it, and then thinking, well, actually, probably I should have vacuumed.
Blessed vacuum. Yeah. So this is a plea, a cry, an appeal to anyone that's out there to go back to nature, go back to the roots, go back to what art is, because nobody ever intended when Leonardo da Vinci was painting his paintings and Michelangelo was up in the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel,
giving himself a neck ache,
killing himself. Really, he struggled and but he was doing it for the love of God and he was doing it for the love of man. and he wasn't doing it to make a splash on Instagram.
And the interesting thing is, isn't
That's
it?
ridiculous, doesn't it?
It does. It does. But people still flood to the Sistine Chapel. People still value those things, so it's not lost, is it? Humanity is still there, but many of us are allowing ourselves to be subsumed and to not speak
into the
out.
Borg.
Exactly.
Don't let them take us into the Borg.
Yeah.
I seriously, I can see it coming. Fight it.
And don't think about it.
Don't think about
That's
it.
what I have to tell myself. Don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
See the positivity. And if that means sitting down, turning off the TV and trying to draw a geranium badly, then that's what we have to do.
You haven't drawn a geranium badly,
but
by
it
the way.
doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But what matters is sitting down. Actually, last night, I think I had the best 10 minutes relationship with my husband that I've had probably for, 10 years or something like that. Actually, it wasn't. It was about 6 months ago the last time it happened. It was when we were in Egypt. My husband is a difficult man. There's no doubting it. And he's very much wrapped up in the propaganda and everything that is online, and easily sinks into anger and all sorts of negative emotions, which I don't know how to combat. But last night, because of the challenge that we'd put together, Tamsin decided that her favourite toy or game from her childhood was
one
Uno.
That we still have.
Yes, it's probably the only one we've still got. I can't even think of one. So she got that out and she said, I'm going to paint this, but first of all, I have to look at it. And so she got it out, and then she decided that we would play it. So, because, you can't paint it until you've played it, can you? So we did. We stood there around the breakfast bar, I would say. We didn't even bother to sit down.
Dinner,
while
waiting for the carrots to cook.
That's right. And so she dealt out the cards, and my husband was standing there, and so she dealt him a hand too. And we had a really good time. We played the game. I won, so it was even better. But he participated. He learnt the rules, and he had a whale of a time. Which
brilliant thing about Uno, isn't it?
You have no idea how much that meant to me. I couldn't believe it. He also loves to play another little game that we've got that Denise sent us from California, which is just a bunch of letters. You throw them on the table and you try to make words out of them. Now, he's not an English language speaker, but, his language isn't bad.
Not a native English speaker.
Definitely not. Not a native.
You could argue that at times he's not an English speaker at all.
It's getting worse, not better. But anyway, he loves it. He plays it for hours. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is not because it's actually a little bit of a ray of sunshine regarding my relationship with my dear husband, but because this is what we should be doing. This is what we should be doing. You don't have to spend all day playing games or doing board games or jigsaws or whatever, but we've forgotten, haven't we? We've forgotten how much that was integrated into our lives and how much we've dropped it. Especially for us living in France. I can't even go out and buy a newspaper that I can enjoy because I live in France. I'm committed, attached to the internet. The majority used to be able to go into a newsagent and buy international newspapers and all sorts, but they've all gone online. And the newsagents have gone bust. We don't even have one.
The only ones near us are newspapers. Are quite politically loaded as well, aren't they?
Yeah, very politically loaded.
So we have to go back. Someone actually in a comment was pointing out that there is going to perhaps be an ironic impact of AI, which will be that it'll drive lots of things that went online, it'll drive them back into the real world because they won't be able to survive online anymore. And maybe that will happen.
But in the face of the deluge of verbiage which is coming out of the computers.
Yeah. And
I don't read anything online anymore. No. I refuse to look at the actual words because it's so meaningless. All of it is empty.
Oh, these fuchsias are a bit mucky.
They've seen better days.
I think they were like that on the plant, actually.
Well, yes, a little bit. So I painted mine pink because they were going a bit manky. So I thought I'll paint them pink instead.
I'm sure there are plenty of things that are less ranty and more sensible that we wanted to say, but maybe we'll have to revisit this theme.
We will revisit this theme. We will be revisiting it frequently. And because otherwise people will just completely forget. I don't know if any of you has read the book called The Machine Stops, which was written in 1918 by E.M. Forster, and a rather strange, I have to say, character, a rather strange intellectual.
E.M. Forster.
Yeah, he was obviously one of the Cambridge bunch. You know,
I think
Tolkien
they must have all been
of them.
holding seances or something, because
I don't
they were all channeling the most amazing things.
C.S. Lewis and E.M. Forster and Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien, and all of the others. There are many more whose names I can't recall at the moment, but they all knew one another and they all wrote strangely prescient, yes, books. And The Machine Stops is one about a world where actually we're almost halfway there by now, actually, where people lived in pods and never saw each other, just interacted through the machine.
Underground, weren't they?
Underground, because they'd completely destroyed the whole entire surface of the earth. It had all been laid waste. Well, that doesn't seem like it's on the cards, does it? Much. Anyway, and so their entire function, sole function, was creating ideas, because it was the one thing the machine couldn't have ideas. And so they were there serving the machine.
They would greet each other and ask, have you had any good ideas recently?
Yeah, that was their only function.
Their sort of greeting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And the machine did everything for them, didn't it?
Except have the ideas.
And
haven't you noticed that with AI when you talk to ChatGPT? Does he ever come back with any ideas? He'll happily, sort of chop up everybody else's ideas and recombine them in new ways, which sometimes are hallucinogenic. But he never comes out with a new idea, and he never asks a question.
He collates, organises, repeats.
Yeah.
Rewords.
Yeah. And it's up to us to have the ideas.
Which is why we're given the tools.
Yeah.
And that's another aspect of it. You know, you do have to sometimes ask yourself, why am I being given this free?
Yeah.
And that's because we're training. Every time we use a tool, every time we interact with a piece of content, we are being used, our reactions are being used to train it.
We don't know, do we? We don't know it's happening. We can't feel it. Can we? We're just drones.
Do you know what? It's easier to draw when you're talking.
It is. I think so too, because you're not bored with it. Yeah, I think so too. And I, as I was doing this, I wasn't worrying at all about what was coming next or what it was going to look like. It doesn't matter at all. I'm just glad I was going to do 2 pages, but I've only done 1.
I suppose that's why the painting groups that everyone used to go to have always been so popular, because you have a chance to paint and natter.
Yeah, years later when I looked back at some of the stuff I did when I was in Bermuda, where we spent most of our time drinking coffee and eating cake.
You always felt that you hadn't really painted very much.
But then I look back at it and it's all such a nice memory to have as well. Yeah.
Oops, there's red on that.
How are you doing?
Well, I don't know really. I'm just having fun doing what I always do when I just sit down and don't really know what I'm going to do, if that makes any sense.
I don't know about you, but one of the problems I have when I'm painting is overworking things. And that is such an easy thing to do. You know, you get to a certain...
making...
No, I'm not.
Hinting?
I'm not, but there is a danger. And this paper, I don't know what paper that is you've got there.
I don't know, you gave it to me.
Yeah, but I said to you, I don't know what it is.
Well, it's all right. I don't think it's the paper. I don't think you can blame the paper.
No, this is still very wet. And when that's dry... Hello, Lottie. What do you want? You've been sitting in the sun and you're boiling hot. I've got this hydrangea. I can never remember their names in front of me here. That would make a good abstract kind of painting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try a hydrangea just yet.
No, I've never succeeded in painting one that looked anywhere near as good as I would like it to, but yeah.
Oh, there's a colour here called fuchsia.
Ah.
It's not quite the same as this fuchsia, it's redder. I'll go with a mixture between those two, I think.
Sometimes an animal, it's not an animal, you are not an animal. A plant like a hydrangea, you need to try, I think, to kind of extract elements of it. I think they've got 4 petals, haven't they? Or it looks as if they have, anyway, even if they haven't. And so rather than trying to paint all the detail...
3 by the look of it.
Only 3? Is that one whole one? But see, they often bend, don't they?
Yeah.
So it kind of looks...
They overlap a lot.
Yeah. I've never seen what I consider to be a satisfactory painting of a hydrangea by me or anyone else, actually. They either look incredibly over-laboured, so it might as well be a photo. Years ago, we would have been having a similar conversation to this, possibly, about the value of painting in a photographic style as opposed to a naturalistic kind of interpretative, loose style, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
That used to be a concern.
That's a debate that still
going
goes on.
Yeah. It does. And I wonder, I haven't thought about that, how that's going to be affected by AI.
Doesn't it all really, though, come down to what you enjoy doing, what you are capable of doing? Because some people are naturally very good at photorealistic art and they enjoy the challenge of reproducing things. And it's not all about what other people want, or of course not, so if you like doing it, then...
I wonder if someone can tell me where this quote came from that I came across yesterday. Somebody had put it on their channel and I came across it and they hadn't attributed it, which I thought was a bit strange. It might be something very famous and I just don't happen to know it, but it said something like, what you have to do in life is to find something that you are fairly adept at and you can do easily, and then transform that. Find some way of making that into your life's purpose. And you could also say when you retire, for example, you could do the same thing, I suppose, because that way your work will be your pleasure and your joy, and you'll never be unhappy. So just find something, anything that you can do relatively easily.
Follow your passion. That really is the same thing, isn't it, as follow your passion?
I don't know.
Which is something that I've always found a little bit optimistic.
It is optimistic, isn't it? It is optimistic. And I don't know whether it's always possible. I mean, maybe some people don't even feel that they're adept at anything. And so that would be not particularly helpful. But I did think it was an interesting idea. And someone said, oh, I know who it was. I'm not going to mention her name. And she said, oh, I just think I'm so lucky that what I do is my passion and blah, blah, blah. But, are you good at making cakes? Are you good at, is that something that comes naturally to you? Or should you be an engineer,
No, I wouldn't do that.
No. But anyway, so relating that to art, what I mean is, if you're naturally a very detailed painter who wants to put every single nuance in, then there's nothing to stop you. But if you're like me and you're a bit slap happy, that is not a rude thing to say in English, by the way. You can ignore that and just...
Or if you're like me and your tendency is to be detailed and precise, but you hate it when you create it, then... learn something else.
Yes.
rather than just disappointing yourself all the time.
Of course, there's always the problem when you're good at lots of things. Some people, I mean, I remember when you were little, worrying about what you should be directed into because you were so good at so many things, still are. You know, should she be a musician? She could easily be. Should she be an artist? She could easily be. A mathematician, a scientist. And of course, it wasn't up to me, but you had so many paths you could tread. So how could you decide which one of these things am I adept at?
Picked the hardest, didn't I? It wasn't if anyone has teenagers that they're advising at the moment, I would advise them not to take the hardest route just because it's the hardest. That wasn't a good rationale.
No.
As it turned out.
Well, I don't know. Who's to say?
It's funny, isn't it, to think, again, with this AI stuff, you know, we used to languish in lack of information. We used to struggle to make decisions because we didn't have what we needed to know available to us. And now it's the exact opposite problem.
But the world had some mystery in it then. You didn't know what colour the postbox were in Canada when you emigrated?
No,
I was hung up on that. What colour are the postboxes? I don't know anything about Canada at all. And it turned out they didn't actually have any, really, to speak of. Not like we did in England. So it was all a vain hope to sort of feel more at home because you had some information. You couldn't find anything out in the 80s and 90s, could you?
No. And now you're drowning in information and you can't tell what's true.
No.
So we've gone full circle on that one as well.
Yeah. Stuck. That is true.
But the real world is still true. Well, of course, you could get mystical about that too, couldn't you? And you could say that the real world is an illusion, but that's probably not the topic of this particular video.
Well, we've still got noisy dogs and silly cats and...
Oh, I've lost my...
Thread?
I've lost my stem there. Just painted over it by accident, forgetting what I was doing. Right, well, that's definitely overworked, so we'll leave that one alone.
You'll be surprised when they've dried how much better they look. Anyway, it's been fun, hasn't it?
Well, it's very diverting. Yes. I suppose we ought to have some lunch at some point.
Oh, crikey. You see the time?
I'm going to adjust my pencil grip and try to be looser and see what happens.
Ah, that's a nice way. That's a little bit anthroposophical. Well, I'm just going to very lightly turn this into a little bit of a line and wash, doing the wash after the line. And then I think we'll wrap up, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm not going to accept that leaf where it is. I'm sorry, but you don't belong there.
That is the joy of being a painter, isn't it? You can move things. I don't like that tree. I'm going to leave it out of my landscape. Oh, I did want to say that actually about landscapes, that they used to be done, didn't they? For even by us, like I was going to say about my little painting of the houses on the street in Arran. Actually, that's where you were conceived. That's why we painted landscapes, because we didn't have a camera. Actually, when we went on that holiday, we didn't have a camera. And so to remember it, we had to paint it.
Life, the hard way is often worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
The easy route is not necessarily the one that brings fulfillment,
nowhere
satisfaction,
near as much fun.
joy, peace.
Yeah, that makes me think of Andrew Cotter and his obsession with going up mountains and not having the faintest idea why it makes him feel so much better when he's climbed a mountain and suffered. But it does, and it's just simply the feeling of achievement, isn't it, that you've done it?
He's an interesting one because he's very much in the world of media and so on, but he detests social media, doesn't he? So yeah. He describes himself needing to unplug in order to stay sane, which is certainly something I feel.
Yeah, well, strongly. We're going to do a lot more of that. I think this video has turned out to be a lot longer than we had intended it to be.
We probably haven't said most of the things that we wanted to say, but ultimately I think the key message was that we are hoping that the spirit of the channel comes across to you, that the reason that we're here is to help you to create, to feel that creating is worthwhile, to understand that creating is worthwhile, to have a safe place to come for inspiration that is real. And we're going to try, aren't we, we are going to resist AI. When after we did the video where you were talking about AI, I was very much aware of it, and I realized that in the process of editing the video and doing the thumbnail and so on, I was offered AI tools about a dozen times in that process. So
Wow.
every time I do anything, I have to resist that. No, I don't want generative extend. No, I don't want you to rewrite that for me. No, I don't want you to enhance that. No, I don't want you to clean that up. And I don't want you to change that piece of music for me.
Is it as bad as that? That's shocking.
Every piece of software that I use, and there are many,
tries to interfere.
Has in the last 2 years embedded AI tools that they want me to use because they want me to pay for them. So they want me to become hooked on them and then to start paying for them. So it's an active process. This is actively resisting. It's a war, and we have to be active resistors.
We do.
And so we are being that. And therefore, in that way, we hope that we can create a safe space for you on YouTube, and also especially on Patreon, where there aren't any adverts. So there's no AI generated content sneaking into the middle of the videos.
Yes, Patreon is going to be our place to do our very best work and our very most
the algorithmically unappealing.
Yes, the stuff that wouldn't get seen on YouTube because YouTube doesn't approve of it. It's not clickbaity enough.
And I wanted to say something about that as well, actually, because
I like that.
Yeah, I see, that's your style. The people say sometimes in the comments, and I understand why they say it, that stuff is clickbaity, or that, you know, we're not doing it genuinely because we're doing it for the money. But you see, here's the thing, and obviously we need to live. But here's the thing.
We've got 20 animals that need to live too.
Yes. The algorithm rewards what it likes with money. So bear with me on this. This is like a multi-step thing. When we put a video up, we want it to be seen by as many people as possible because we love you and we want to help you. If that video is going to be seen, the algorithm has to want to show it. And if the algorithm wants to show it, then that's because it will earn YouTube money. So we have to try to be clever. And of course, if YouTube earns money, then we do too.
But that's the thing.
But it's a side effect. So if we can create content that the algorithm likes, then that will help new people to be reached, which, yes, makes money. But that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it to reach people. But YouTube won't show new people unless it makes money.
Yeah. So
that's complicated, right?
We have to play the game.
We have to play the game. But on Patreon, we don't have to play the game. And on Patreon, there are no adverts. And we try to have members-only content on YouTube with no adverts, but we can't stop them from deciding to place adverts anyway. They don't allow us to say no ads.
So although it does actually cost about $4 to be a member of Patreon on our channel, $4, I honestly don't think anyone in this day and age could say that was a lot of money. And for that last month, you got a video every single day.
We're not going to do that again this month.
It won't be this. No, that's going to be once a year or maybe twice a year. Maybe we might do it at Christmas or something like that. But that was a one-off, and we did that to support Charlie O'Shields and his charity and the World Watercolor Month.
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So, but for that $4, you got 31 videos.
And they're still there. So
they're still there. They'll always be there. Yeah. And as long as you belong, as long as you're a member, you can see all of those videos and work your way through them and learn a lot. And if I say so myself, I think there was some pretty good material in there one way or another. There was lots and lots of teaching about mixing colours and all that kind of thing, and some really good ideas that I picked up along the way and things I developed along the way and so on and so forth. So what we want to do is to encourage you, if you feel that you would like to join that you would go over there and be part of that too. Everything on YouTube.
There's a community there as well.
There's a good community there too, yes. And everything is still here on YouTube. We're still going to be doing exactly the same things on YouTube. But if they do have a little bit of a tint of what's the word?
Well, once
commercialization.
We've sort of decided, haven't we, that once a week we need to play the game.
Yeah. On Saturdays.
Once a week, usually on Saturdays, we need to play the game. So if you notice something a bit clickbaity, a bit hooky, a bit sort of in your facey,
give me 10 minutes and I'll save your life.
That's because that's how we play the game. That if we don't do that, we never get shown to new. And we're not exaggerating.
No.
Videos that don't play that game get 0 new subscribers. They get shown to 0 new people.
Yeah.
So
literally 0.
That's not our mission. Our mission is to be shown.
0.
Also less than 0.
How can you show a video to -1 person?
The mission, new people. The mission is to be shown, right? The mission is to help. So we're going to wind up now, aren't we? Because it's 1:30. It's time for lunch. That is a beautiful painting. When that's dry, I think you'll be really pleased with that. I know it's fantastic that you've joined me here today to do this. Well, I had fun, and I've loosened up as I went along.
Yeah.
So there we go, 4 flowers in, and I know how to do something vaguely loose, which is interesting.
It's
That's
brilliant.
my goal.
It's made my day, made my year, because I've been wanting you to do this for a very long time, for your own benefit, for your own heart.
For my thyroid.
For your thyroid, yes. Let's get together and build back our thyroids, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so we'll say bye-bye for now, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. And
happy painting.
Bye-bye and happy painting. Yes, bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. And bye-bye from her.
Bye-bye. It's bye-bye from her, too. Bye-bye.
Bye.